Access2019 Module 5 Part 16. We're looking at a few of the miscellaneous things at the end of this chapter. We're going to take a look at the long text fields. We're going to look at the trusted folders, and then we're going to real quickly review the compact and repair. So let's get into our database. And we're in the clinic database, and we are going to open up our visit table. So our comments are a long text field, and you can see that they can get quite long. So if we enlarge that field so that we can see more of it, when we get over to view the field, we may not be able to see other information. So one thing that you can do is we could click on the visit ID column, hold the shift key down, and click on the date of visit. And then on the home tab, in the records group, we're going to click this more button so we can freeze these fields. And then as we move across, you'll notice those three fields will stay on the screen. So if you do have a really long field and you want to be able to see who the visit was, the visit ID and the patient and the date, as well as the comments, you can freeze fields on the screen. But I also want to point out a few things about these comments fields. So if we scroll down, you will see that as you get down to this upcoming marriage, move, and new job, you can see that the text has changed. That is a special feature that this type of field allows. So let's go over and look at our properties in the design view. If you go down to comment, you're going to notice comment is a field that is called a long text field. And all of the other text fields we've dealt with in the past were short text fields. Now they call it a short text, but it really can hold up to 255 characters, so it can be quite long. But when they talk about a long text field, they are really talking long because these can hold up to 65,535 characters in those long text fields. Now, short text fields can only be plain text formatting, and they can only store things the same way, okay? When we look at these long text fields, we have this text format option down here. You can see that we can choose plain text or rich text. So if it's rich text, it will allow us to change the formatting of that text. We can make things bold or different colors, things like that to help items stand out. Long text fields are the only fields in Access that allow rich text formatting. They also have this append only option. Now that one allows us to track changes. So if I set this to yes, I can keep a historical log of all of the changes to that field. And so that really is why we have to keep so many characters available in those fields. Because if I'm going to keep those historical logs, it's going to keep a view of each version of the field value with the date and the time that it was changed. So I'm going to have that historical log. So if I'm calling someone for collections and they tell me the check is in the mail, I can tell them, you've told us that the last 3 times I've called on this date, and this date, and we still haven't gotten the check yet, because I've got that historical log of information available to me in that field. Long text fields are the only one that allow us to append the information, and they are the only ones that allow rich text formatting. So that's kind of a unique field type. I'm going to go ahead and save our changes to that. And the next thing we want to look at is under the file. We're going to go over here to Options. We have an option here called the Trust Center. And under Trust Center Settings, I can go to Locations, and I can specify where I'm storing my Access databases. And so if I have multiple places where I'm going to store them, I can add new locations, and I can trust those locations so that each time I open up my database, I'm not going to have the security options popping up saying, you know, do you want to enable the content in this database is in a safe place, and those kind of things. So you can add or remove locations to trust those folders so that you don't get as many security questions each time you open them. So that is one thing that you could use if you were using databases a lot. And then the last thing is I'm going to review backup. So we File, and we go to Save As. We choose Backup the database, and we Save As. It gives it the database name along with the date stamp of when we did it. And I also want to review Compact and Repair. So we would come in and compact and repair to shrink that file size down. And that concludes this segment.